So with this tutorial, we're going to get started by downloading a text editor. A text editor is a tool that allows us to edit code so that we can then execute this code as a program. I'm going to be using a text editor called Sublime Text. Sublime Text has a trial version that you can freely use. It's available at this URL. We simply need to download and install it. Once installed, you can open it up and begin using it as your code editor. So now I'm going to give you a basic overview of how to get started using HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it's the computer language used to create website documents. So to get started, we can create an empty HTML document by simply saving a file in Sublime Text with a .html extension at the end of it, like this. So here I've created a file called index.html. Now in our last tutorial, we created a static file web server. In this tutorial, you can either choose to run this file from that web server, or for now you can simply save it to the desktop or any other location. Now that we've created our first HTML file, let's add something to it. Type the words Hello World and then right-click and choose Open in Browser. Now technically this is not the correct way to write an HTML document. The correct way to input text is to wrap it in what are called elements, which are sometimes called tags or element tags. These look like this. If you look at a typical HTML document, you'll notice there are many different types of tags. But first we need to now begin explaining how to structure a typical HTML document so that we can begin to use HTML properly. So with that, this is what's commonly referred to as an HTML skeleton. This is the most basic template for an HTML document that you should have. So let's go over what each of these elements and attributes are intended to be used for. So first of all, the purpose of structuring your website using element tags is that it allows for web browsers or other rendering devices to extract information about the document. This is so that it can be properly presented to the user. The first piece of information is the doctype. This is technically not an HTML tag. It's simply a way to tell web browsers what version of HTML our page is using. All modern websites and web applications use the HTML5 version of HTML. This is expressed by simply setting the doctype to HTML. For contrast, this is what an HTML4 doctype would look like. So once we establish the version of HTML the document is using, we then need to create an opening HTML tag and corresponding closing HTML tag. Opening tags are expressed in this manner, while closing tags are expressed in this manner with a /. Most HTML elements have an opening and closing tag. This HTML element simply tells the web browser that everything inside of it is HTML. The next element is called the head. The purpose of the head element is to provide general information about the document, including the title of the document. The head can also include external script files. We're going to be going over the inclusion of external script files later, but for now just realize that the opening and closing head tags are a container for general document information. The next element is the meta tag. This meta tag has an attribute of charset, and the attribute is set to UTF-8. So what does this mean? Well, meta tags are used to convey information to the browser, and the charset attribute conveys what character encoding the document should use. The character encoding is a method by which computers convert a sequence of bytes into a sequence of characters. The character encoding that we typically use is called UTF-8. Now, there are other character encodings available, so why not use some of those? Well, briefly, the reason is this. The first character encoding created was called ASCII, and ASCII was English-based. As time went on, other character encodings began to emerge, and one of these was called UTF-8. UTF-8 encompasses most languages in the world, hence why it became popular and why you should use it. The title element contains the title of the document, and this can be viewed when we launch the document. The next element are the opening and closing body tags. The body is where we write the majority of HTML that we intend to present to the user. So if we were to have a complete HTML document, it might look something like this. In our next tutorial, we'll begin to go over many of the elements and attributes that you can use to begin to create your own HTML documents. And until next time, bye-bye.